Welcome back, it's Melanie, your She Shed Scrapper. So today I am back with a one-page layout using a couple of different collections. The first one being Lake Life from Boulevard, and then the second one, Sweet Rush by Vicki Boutin. So I don't usually use pattern background papers, but I just love the colors of this striped paper that is from the Lake Life collection, and then found the wave paper from the Sweet Rush collection, and they match so well. So I wanted to kind of use both of them and felt like there was enough kind of, I guess, difference in the patterns that it worked together. I have that big kind of sunshine for part of my title there that's from the Sweet Rush collection, and kind of wanted to overlap those left or right two photos there. I am going to kind of stagger my photos down the page, overlapping them as well. And lately I've been kind of just going straight across the page, so I wanted to try something a little bit different. Not much difference because there's 3 4x6 photos, but changing it up just a little bit. One of the problems I came across first was that the wave paper was not being seen very much. The photos kind of took over, as well as that sunshine. So I had to kind of figure out how to, make that more visible. And so I ended up kind of making a wider stripe at the top, or strip, and then bringing it down lower on the page as well. With these 3 4x6 photos, I did want to back them so they stood out a little bit more, but I had to make sure that the borders were very small because they were going across the page, and I was already kind of pressed for space, I guess, with the 3 photos on the page. So once I get those backed, I am going to commit to the wave paper, but I am going to just cut it into strips. There was no use in having it go all the way through the photos and wasting it, because I think this is quite an amazing paper here. So now that the base of the layout is taped down, I need to kind of figure out how to embellish the rest of the layout. So in the Happy Hearts collection from Pink Fresh Studio, I do bring in just a couple pieces from that as well. This Shine title, that is from the title ephemera. I liked how that looked, and especially with the photos that I'm using. So I am going to kind of use that as a second title down at the bottom. I am going to go through and see what I can kind of layer behind that title. This is the ephemera pack, one of the ephemera packs from Bella Boulevard Lake Life. There are so many pieces in each of the ephemera packs. It is, I don't buy a bunch of Bella Boulevard. I am starting to buy more and more because I think they're amazing collections. And I was so surprised at how many pieces were in the ephemera pack. So I did decide to use a sailboat down at the bottom to layer underneath of my title down there. We're not on the boat, of course, and I don't know when else I would use that. But we are at the water, and so I thought it was appropriate to kind of use as a layering piece. So I am going to tape those 2 down and then use the Happy Hearts alphas as well from Pink Fresh Studio. And one thing I like about their mini alphas, you get 2 sheets of alphas and 2 kind of different color schemes. So the front side were pinks and oranges, and then the back sides are different shades of kind of blue aquas. And so I chose the same color. I didn't alternate colors with my title here, but ended up using Shine Bright. 100% appropriate for this child and his little attitude that he's got, the little personality that he has. So I did add a couple of pieces to the top cluster as well. In the long run, the 2 pieces I chose for the top are a little bit on the smaller side, and you'll see towards the end kind of how I struggle, I guess, with the layout. I actually don't do this very often, but I actually left the layout on my desk and came back another day to finish it because I just was at a loss of how to complete the layout. On the sticker sheet, I was trying to figure out if there were any other stickers that I could use and found a piece of scalloped border sticker left over and decided that would be a good base for a cluster, and then found a star that says Lake Day and added that to the bottom as well. I did kind of struggle with where to put my embellishments. I feel like the one on the top right and the one on the bottom left are both quite large embellishments. But I didn't feel like those two really completed the layout. And so I did add that small one to the bottom right. And I will add a little bit to it. But then I also felt like I didn't love just the 3 embellishment clusters either. So I did want to add to the top there. I felt like that was kind of plain as well. And so I went into my stash, that paper there's from the Lake Life collection, and added a layer there. Still didn't feel like it was enough. I wanted to incorporate another color, and so I went and found the checked yellow, and I do cut a larger piece here that's going to kind of separate the waves and that dark blue paper, and that one is going to come all the way across the page and kind of go off the page a little bit. With the title where it's at in the bottom, I couldn't really commit to bringing those 2 layers down the page like the wave paper. Everything was already kind of stuck down and kind of limited me from bringing that down. So I did like that heart kind of conversation bubble. I can't remember exactly what it says, but something about, jumping in the lake, it looks like. Something about that. And I just thought that was really, really cute at the top there. So I am going to use that as another embellishment cluster. So kind of lots going on with lots of pattern papers and lots of embellishment clusters. But I don't feel like, I guess it's too much. I feel like the photos still kind of take center stage. But I did struggle kind of with how to or what to add to finish off the rest of the clusters. I did find another pair of sunglasses, so I am going to add that to the heart at the top, but still didn't feel like it was finished, I guess, the top cluster and the bottom cluster. So I'm going through all of the ephemera. Didn't really find anything that I really wanted to use. And so then I decided to go into my Scrap and Happy Studio flare stash, because I do have quite the stash. I did find a couple of pieces that match, one of which is actually from the new Discover and Create box. That's not what it's technically called, but the box of flares from Scrap and Happy Studio match the Discover and Create collection by Vicki Boutin perfectly. So I did bring in one for the bottom cluster that says the best, and in doing so I had to pop up that star on some foam tape because, you know, the flares give a little bit of dimension, and so if I'm going to layer them, then that star needed to be popped up a little bit. Still didn't think that was enough. Went back to my stash of flares, found this one that I love. It kind of is a, we'll call it a peekaboo, where, you know, the phrase is on the top half and you can kind of tuck in the bottom half behind your photos or other embellishments. Finished it off for this day with a couple of different stars, one in the top cluster, one in the bottom cluster. But now here I come back a second day because I felt like the layout was too heavy on the left-hand side. It was not even for me, and I really needed to figure out how I could do that. I thought about bringing over that yellow paper and that dark blue paper all the way across, but instead I decided to use circles. I have that large sunshine circle, and so I decided to bring in more patterns and layer some circles. If I added them to the top to kind of even out that, I felt like the circles needed to be in other places as well. So I stuck a half circle in the bottom cluster and that brought down some of that yellow, which I really liked, and then snuck in half a circle on the top left cluster with a plaid paper, and then layered some other circles to kind of the right of that sunshine. And I felt like that helped balance the layout a little bit more. So I did kind of want to add something else to that top right cluster. And there was a sticker I really wanted to incorporate. It was the perfect color and said being awesome. And again, 100% appropriate for these photos of my son. So I did put that teeny tiny phrase sticker down in the bottom right cluster, and then I'm going to add a heart flare from Scrap and Happy Studio to the top circular cluster. My goodness, was this layout a labor of love. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you could see kind of how or why I was kind of stuck and how it was kind of a heavy layout towards the left hand side. And hopefully with the addition of the circles at the top, that kind of helped balance it out. But I hope you guys enjoyed this layout. I will link these collections down below for you, and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.